That's a wrap, folks. It's a wrap. Already touched it, lucky dog.
Alright, we're finally going. Later I'll do a recap of my thoughts. Just spinning around and I'm not very organized at the moment. Alright, made it to the hotel by the airport. Things are looking good. Can basically just relax until the flight tomorrow. The only thing really left to do is do some laundry and relax. Oh, but man, was it a journey to get here from the terminus. So finished up the Florida Trail. It was sweet. We got to see some snapping turtles for the first time on trail right at the terminus. Then we pop over to Fort Pickens, and you know, it's pretty sweet. It's an old fort from both the 1800s and 1900s. Then we stop at the beach, go for a swim in the waves, which I've had my mind on since day one of this trail because my flight was canceled and I didn't get to do it in Fort Lauderdale when flying in. And so, great weather, got to hang out on the beach briefly to go for the swim. Then we go over to Fort Pickens and, you know, cruise through the tour, our self-guided tour.
Out there doing laps. You're ready for that aquatic training. Oh, I was the one who done it. I was in and out, but Hardy's just out there doing laps. Like, you gonna play today? Not today. Alright folks, we hopped in the Gulf of Mexico, finishing this hike. A lot of extra footage near the end. You gotta end it with the hike. There's some jellyfish in there though. Be careful. Oh, what I also noticed, I got fatter in the last 2 weeks. We've been crushing miles, and just the McDonald's nasty. Compared to when we were doing like one meal a day, it was nothing. Get it, son!
Oh, that feels so good.
Out there doing laps. Some aquatic training. So yeah.
Alright, now that's the way to end a through hike. Just like the PNT, jump into the water, body surf for a bit, and then dry off. Man, I could really, I wish we got to stay out here because I could literally spend hours in there. But gotta dry off and do those town chores that get you back home. So, oh boy, was that fun. Got all the just reward for all the other things in the through hike, just for those minutes in the water, for sure. Alright, so we figured out that we need to get back to Pensacola Beach to get a bus that only comes today. If we don't catch it, we're a bit SOL, which means we're gonna do a quick tour of the base that I learned by signage was always under the Union Army's control, even though Florida was a Confederate state. So they must have a pretty good presence here. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to do some more research later probably to fill in my gaps of knowledge because we're gonna be rushing through it. Oh yeah, this reminds me of Port Townsend. What we got? Oh, the darkness. Darkness. Borrow the misty mountains cold, to dungeons deep and caverns old, we must away in break of day to find our old forgotten home. Alright, we had to get the brief beach trip and then brief port trip due to the schedule of the buses. So just got my history lesson that this was a old fort from the 1800s and then later was renovated to get it up to World War II era weaponry. And so the I think he's catcalling me. Is that a cat call? He wanted to pick you up. So got my history lesson. So the old fort was in the 1800s and the newer stuff was renovated for World War II era. Pretty interesting because the World War II era stuff looks familiar to the stuff I've seen around Puget Sound in Washington State, but the obviously earlier red brick base definitely seems much older and wouldn't have been up to the task. Then we gotta hitch a ride back into town to make a bus. So that's where things start getting interesting. We leave Fort Pickens, we're on the road. Every third car that comes, we stop our thumb out and pickup truck goes by, stops, and then asks us where we need to go, and basically, you know, as far as you're willing to take us. He's saying, okay, hop in the back of the truck. So we hop in the back of the pickup truck and we fly down the road that we started the trail, or started the day on. That took us, you know, a few hours. We're done in, you know, 30 minutes or whatever. And it was super cool. The fog had lifted, so we got to actually kind of see the beach and see the ocean as we're flying down in the back of a pickup truck. And there's a bunch of stuff in the back, so we're sitting up high. Probably the fastest I've been in the back of a pickup truck. Usually when I've gone. It's a family member driving, and maybe they're a little more careful with me. But anyways, fly back. It's awesome. Then we get to Pensacola Beach, and this place is packed. It was dead in the morning when we were through hiking out of it, and we get back. Every spot in the parking lots are filled. There's people everywhere. It's pretty insane. Okay, so our hitch was successful, and what took us like 3 or more hours this morning was just gone in 30 minutes. And when we left town, it was maybe starting to pick up, but like the parking lots we passed were empty, and now every spot is full. Every inch of beach is taken up. This place is popping. It's crazy because we kind of just blinked, and now we're back after finishing the trail. It's wild. Yeah, I don't know, we're not on the Florida Trail anymore, so can you say it's really Looney Tunes? But yeah, it's pretty Looney Tunes, and just a nice dose of reality to bring you back to off-trail life. Well, for me, you know, if only just for a moment for Constantine. But yeah, we're gonna go check out the bus stop and see what we get up to, because we got an hour until the bus comes. Maybe we'll rent around 3-wheeled motorized vehicles and run the streets for a bit. But the traffic's so high, it's really the morning where that would be fun.
You gotta handle the mornings in Florida. If you don't seize the mornings,
then you're just gonna be stuck in traffic in the vehicle that you only rented for an hour. So yeah,
you go outside the parking
lot. We're not doing that. We missed our chance this morning to do that. Oh well. All right. Time to get back to business.
I do.
Yeah.
And then people also look at you a little weird now too. Alright, Looney Tunes.
Alright, hanging out at the bus stop, which is, well, we hope this is the correct bus stop, but just getting the last of our Pensacola Beach, Florida experiences. Whether it's the car karaoke's or the oldish guys that talk shit about the cars that almost hit him, all that good stuff. We go find the bus stop because we hear it's maybe like 3:50, 3:40 at this point, and we hear there's a bus at 4:30. So we head to the bus stop, and there's not really any markings about this being the bus that we're looking for, or the stop for the bus we're looking for, but from all the other information we've gathered, this is the spot. So we wait there, 4:30 comes and goes, then it's getting closer to 5, and this older gentleman comes by and sets up a beach chair essentially by the bus stop, and we ask him, you know, are you waiting for the bus? And he's like, yes. So we're like, okay, we're in the right spot. He pulls out a pamphlet, says, bus will be here at 5, something like that. And he's telling all these cool stories, crazy stories, a bit of both. Nice guy though, and a good way to listen to his stories to pass the time. And so 5 o'clock comes and goes, and you know, we're giving the bus driver benefit of the doubt because it's crazy traffic, but still it gets pushed. You know, it's not happening. Then it's like a 5:30 time, and there's still no bus. And at some point, this lady shows up and is also gonna wait for the bus there. And she's a pretty excitable character. Just got off first day of work at a new job, and it seems like, or early on in a new job. Anyways, very excitable, stoked about all the cash she just made, or is going to get paid. And then 5:30 comes and goes. Then 5:55 comes and goes. And we keep on hearing all this information about bus time being this, and we've called the bus station. We've got this guy's pamphlet. We have, I think he has a couple pamphlets, then the website, and then he finally brings out this printed out sheet of paper, and each one has its own times, and some say the bus runs on Saturdays, some say it doesn't. We're sure it runs on Saturdays, but we just don't know when, and it gives all this time, and we've been waiting at this bus station for hours. Anyways, the bus finally shows up at 6:10, something like that, after the lady that was there calls the bus driver himself, I believe. I don't know how she got his number, you know, and yeah, then we got on the bus. So we're like, okay, home free, we're on the bus to Pensacola. We did it, you know. If Sunday the bus doesn't run, so if we didn't make that bus, we'd been SLL. So we're on the bus then looking for places to stay in Pensacola. And there's literally nothing in a 50-mile radius of places to stay. We tried everything, and yeah, to no avail. And everybody on the bus was trying to give us suggestions, and most of it wasn't very helpful, and stuff we already knew. The bus driver was quite patient with the other folks on the bus, especially the lady who didn't regard anybody else talking when she talked. So he was very patient, and he was definitely trying to help us. He was, you know, most willing to talk to us and try to help us work through that situation, but ultimately there was nothing for him to do because there was no places to stay. And Constantine lucked out. We got lucked out, and because the alternative was going to be to play homeless man in Pensacola, Florida, which turned out to be kind of a rough place, at least where the bus dropped us off. So Constantine lucked out and found a RV park in Alabama, about 30 miles away, something like that. And so he booked that, then had to convince the lady to let us stay because we aren't RVers, we're just campers, you know, please just let us stay. So he does that, success, we're allowed to come. And so we get off the bus, head to Wendy's. I just pick up a little burger for later, and then Constantine's coming in. Alright, pause. Alright, so I got the burger from Wendy's.
We're back.
Yeah.
Keep doing your thing.
And then we call Uber driver to hopefully get us to the RV park. And he comes, is kind of wondering what he's looking at with us with our backpacks on, because we have phones. We called Uber, you know, we're probably not homeless, but then we kind of got big homeless packs on kind of thing. And he had a cool name, Quantarius. And real nice guy, chatted up, had never met like hikers before, isn't a thing in his bubble. And so yeah, he was a pretty engaging guy to ask. He asked us questions, and we talked the whole ride. So great guy to have a ride with. Probably it was between him and our pickup truck. That was the best ride of the day. But he was definitely, I'd give him slightly upper hand. But so we get to the RV park, or the corner of the RV park, and we walk in, and we get hollered at to come over to this spot in the dark by these RVs, and it's the camp host. They set us up with a spot. We talked to them for a bit, but ultimately I eat my burger pretty quickly and pass out, because the day before I only had 3.5 hours of sleep, something like that. Oh man, what a day. We are off trail, and I know I haven't given much of it updates. I don't know if this is really good time. We are in a RV park in Alabama right now, so hopefully I'll remember all the good stories tomorrow, where if we can get a ride, we have a room in Pensacola, and we will get a ride because we need to. But hopefully I will remember all the good stories from today that I will look back and laugh, because in the moment they were a little ridiculous to deal with, but you know, the Florida Trail strikes back. So anyways, I only got like 3.5 hours of sleep last night, so I'm planning on crashing right now, and hopefully I'll remember to update you tomorrow about how I got from Fort Pickens to Lillian, Alabama. It's quite the tale. It's quite the tale. Anyways, I'm about to fall asleep. Good night, y'all. Then woke up the morning, well rested, finally getting some good sleep. Kind of got to sleep in. And then it was the challenge of now getting back to Pensacola. We had booked a hotel the night before in Pensacola, so we didn't have to fight with the spring breakers for a spot. We made our reservation. We just need to get into town. And so the people at the campsite, I guess, weren't necessarily willing to give us a ride at first. Constantine chatted them up for a while, like I guess close to an hour or something like that, and softened them up. So then when Uber and Lyft failed and we were heading out to get a hitch from this place in Alabama, the guy offered to take us over the bridge into Florida to the edge of where the Pensacola sprawl starts, essentially. So better than nothing, we'd get the ride and head over to this place. And we get there and we try to get Uber, Lyft, nothing available. So we're like, okay, we'll just head to the Waffle House and get a breakfast. Now breakfast was awesome. This Waffle House was like deluxe. They were adding things to their menu, or like to spice up the meal and stuff. So I had a big breakfast, real nice, great place. And we get out and then we're trying to get a ride again. So Uber and Lyft weren't available either, but we finally get hold of, or Constantine finally gets hold of the cab company. There's a bit of, there's not a lot of confirmation, but we think we have a ride. Eventually we wait long enough and we call again to confirm that our ride is gonna come, and it does. So we have a taxi from this edge of the Pensacola suburb, which is like, I mean, still 20 minutes out, something like that, from where we want to go. All right, I think we have a ride into Pensacola. Things are progressing. I will give the full debrief once we're a little more settled, but we had a nice breakfast at the Waffle House. That was pretty nice. Lots of food. Lots of food. Yeah, I'm still. We've had some bad luck trying to get rides, so I'm a little skeptical of it actually happening, but I think we're gonna be good. But we get our ride, we get in the car, we come to the hotel, and it's all good. We had to wait for it to check in, but while doing that, we ran some errands. I got my Sharp camp stuff and the bulk of my gear sent home, so I don't have to deal with that on the plane. Once we got back to the hotel, we got our room, so I'm showered. Everything's good now. So now it's that's the update. Florida Trail is over. The logistics back to Pensacola is over, and now I just get to relax tonight. Make sure to get up early enough to get my flight. Then I get to hang out in DC for the day, or a decent amount of hours, and then hop on a plane and head back home to Washington, where real life jumps back started, and or jump starts. And yeah, I'm excited for that. Really glad I came out to do this trail. Some of the parts in the moment were, you know, challenging, frustrating. There's no points where I really question why am I out here. Yeah, that doesn't necessarily pop in my head, but definitely some challenging moments. But yeah, ultimately very glad to be out, glad to have done the trail, glad to have now hiked an East Coast trail, got to hang out in the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, I mean, looking back, it's a lot more roses, but yeah, glad it played out as challenging and difficult as it did sometimes. And you know, if you didn't have those hard days, the good ones wouldn't have that contrast to base it off of. And really thankful for those good moments at the end of the trail, going around Fort Pickens and really jumping in the ocean, because that was a nice high point of the day to anchor off of all the challenging logistic mess afterwards. But we're here now, and yeah, as all good things do, the trail is over, and another chapter begins. that's it. So long.